Okay, a little bit about early wood and late wood, because there is often confusion between early wood and late wood. It's more a characteristic of wood that is grown in temperate regions where you get seasons. So early wood is quite often called spring wood. Whoops, get rid of that. Spring wood. And late wood is sometimes called summer wood. Whether that is one word or two words, I think, is very much up to you and the spell check on your computer. So it should be pretty obvious when they're formed. Early wood is formed early in the season and late wood formed late in the season. With a temperate zone, we would have spring and summer, and we would have autumn and winter, of course, autumn and winter being dormant seasons. But other regions, like tropical rainforests, they have rainy seasons and they have dry seasons. So the early wood, late wood would be more related to early in a rainy season and late in a rainy season, rather than being related to the summer or spring. Now, I talked about ring porous woods and the occurrence of early wood, late wood in at least the ring porous rather than the diffuse porous woods, but I don't think I've mentioned it in softwoods. So I'm particularly talking here about softwoods, and I'm talking about the tracheids in softwoods. And I'm going to be looking down from the top. So if we look at a tree like this, I'm looking at a cross section. So I'm looking across that direction, but this is how we're viewing it. Okay, so we're viewing down that way, and then the cells look something like this, and automatically, just by drawing a cell like that, I can tell you immediately that I'm drawing a late wood. And why is it a late wood? Because we've got thick cells and we've got small voids in the middle of the tracheids. So that's what a late wood would look like, whereas an early wood would look rather more like that. And you can see just by drawing the cell like that, that they clearly have very different functions. And with the early wood, the function is transport, because at that part of the time of year, the tree wants to get nutrients up into the canopy, it wants to get the products of photosynthesis down into the roots, so transport is a very, very important role that it's playing, whereas the late wood, transport is not so crucial. The tree is beginning to move towards a dormant season, and it's laying down the wood in a way to provide a structural function. I'm just drawing in, or attempting to draw in, with a blue pen, the middle lamella, which is the bit that is actually gluing the cells together, which I've mentioned already, the lignified middle lamella. So the late wood is here as a structural wood. And the early wood is there for transportation. So when you look at a tree from the top, you'll see these growth rings. Generally speaking, invariably, because the late wood is more material, the late wood looks darker than the early wood, but it depends how much lignin is present. Lignin is a dark brown colour, so if you've got quite a lignified late wood species, then the darker rings will be the late wood. And how quickly the tree grows, how rapidly these cells are formed, and how many rows are laid down, how big the cells are, that will control the density of the wood. Not too surprising to hear that the late wood is more dense than the early wood. So if we've got a lot of late wood, not much early wood, we'll have a much denser tree. If the tree grows very slowly, we'll have very narrow early wood bands and also very narrow late wood bands. But because there's a lot of growth rings in a very small space, again, we'll have a high density tree. So fast growing softwood trees, I'm talking about here, will be of low density, and slow grow trees will be of high density. Density does correlate with strength. Correlates quite well with strength, although it's not the only determinant of strength. So a high dense wood with a soft wood at least indicates a strong piece of wood, and may well indicate a very stiff piece of wood, although that is a little bit more complicated.